There are photographers that spend years religiously practicing, and yet they never see any true improvement. And there are photographers that have very limited practice schedules, but somehow they just always seem to be improving their skills. The difference isn't in their talent, it isn't gear, and it's not even how often they go out and practice with their camera. The difference is in how they practice. If you ever felt stuck despite putting in time and repetitions, this video may completely change your perspective on practice and how you personally approach your practice when it comes to photography.
But you're stronger than you know. You'll never be alone when everything feels dark.
Hey, I'm Jeff, and I'm a professional wildlife photographer living in Charleston, South Carolina. And if you're new to the channel, welcome in. And if you're returning, well, I'm glad you're back. Nice to see you again. So recently, I posted a video about the power of mindset and how it can have a dramatic impact on your growth and overall success as a photographer. One of the main points that we discussed in that video was the importance of perfect practice, because not all practice is created equal. We can practice by doing repetitions, going through the motions, but this is not the type of practice that is effective or leads to growth. But perfect practice, that is deliberate in nature, is a type of practice that is highly focused and highly effective. Today, we're going to explore this topic a little bit deeper because it's something that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Understanding the real differences between practice and deliberate practice, and why deliberate practice is the fastest and most reliable way to actually improve your photography. So we're going to talk about this. So let's jump in and get this going. Number one, why most practice doesn't work. Most photographers practice photography by grabbing their camera and going out into the field and shooting. And on the surface, there's really nothing wrong with that. But here is the hard truth. Repeating the same behavior produces the same results. If every outing looks the same locations, same subjects, same approach, same conditions, same habits, your brain has no reason to adapt. You are simply reinforcing what you already know, not building something new. This type of practice maintains your current skill level, but rarely moves you forward in any meaningful way. But when you practice this way, you will also tend to gravitate towards a practice routine that feels comfortable to you. And again, this is great for maintaining your current skill level, but we are looking to grow. This is where deliberate practice comes in. You need to figure out how to challenge your brain, to push yourself to get to that next level. Your brain always needs to be challenged to stay engaged and to get the most out of your learning sessions. When we repeat the same practice routines, it's like putting your brain on cruise control. You might think that going through the motions was helpful, but in reality, it wasn't helpful at all. When practicing, it's good to constantly change up your practice to create something new for your brain to focus on. This keeps it engaged and maximizes your brain's learning power. Number two, practice versus deliberate practice. Regular practice is passive. Deliberate practice is intentional. Regular practice says, I'll go out and shoot and I'll hope that I improve. Deliberate practice says, I'm going to work on one specific skill with a clear objective, and later on, I will evaluate the results. This is where most photographers go wrong in their practice routines. Their practice is more passive-based, trying to practice everything at once, believing that capturing a mass of images during a practice session automatically leads to some improvement. But rarely is this the case, and this typically leads to feelings of frustration and discouragement. When we implement deliberate practice, our routine is focused, it's structured, slightly uncomfortable, but it's measurable, it's targeted, and it keeps our brains active and engaged to maximize our learning experience. Number 3, why deliberate practice works. Well, let's make this practical. We just learned what deliberate practice is. It's practice that's focused, structured, slightly uncomfortable, measurable, targeted, and it's a great way to keep our brains active and engaged. But more importantly, deliberate practice works because you're focusing on one specific skill per session. Maybe you're tracking birds in flight, reading animal behavior, shooting in poor light, learning to control your background. Maybe you're focusing on composition or using shutter speed creatively to get motion blur. By focusing all of your energy on one specific skill, you're challenging your brains more. And this in turn creates a more effective learning environment. The message to your brains is also much clearer. When we try to practice by focusing on everything at once, it's confusing to our brains. We are giving it mixed messages, and ultimately, our practice sessions aren't very effective. So remember, one outing, one intention. Number 4, the benefits of visualization. This is one of the most overlooked and ignored techniques when it comes to deliberate practice. And I would be willing to bet that at least 90% of photographers will hear the term visualization and scoff at it. If you're excluding visualization from your practice routine, you're leaving a huge opportunity on the table to improve your skills as a photographer. A lot of research has been done on this practice technique with absolutely astounding results. Studies have proven how successful visualization routines are to skill improvement. This is another area that I actually studied when I was a golf professional. And studies have proven that visualizing yourself doing something can actually have a greater impact on the development of your skills than actually practicing the skill itself. The great thing about visualization, you don't even need to leave your house. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and really embrace the moment. Visualize the location, the subject, the light, the background, your position, the weather, and so on down the line. Just like your deliberate practice in the field, your visualization should include one specific intention. You're practicing tracking birds in flight. Visualize your camera sitting on a tripod somewhere, specific in your location. See and feel yourself looking around and waiting for that next bird to fly by. What do you feel? What do you see? Visualization exercises prepare your brain to recognize opportunities faster in the field. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between real practice and vividly imagined practice. And that gives you a massive advantage. As with any visualization exercise, the key is to let your mind go and get as detailed as possible. Number 5, physical awareness. One very important aspect of practice that often gets overlooked is forgetting that your body is part of the camera system. Deliberate practice includes breathing control, stability, smooth movement, muscle memory, and as I always like to say, I absolutely hate the term muscle memory because there is no such thing. Our muscles have no memory, but our neural pathways do create a memory of motion. You can practice without even taking a photo. For example, you can practice panning your camera as though you're tracking a bird in flight. Or you can practice your hand holding technique, ensuring you're supporting your camera and lens properly and tucking your elbows in to create that stable base. Practicing these things while standing, kneeling, laying down, you practice them in the comfort of your own home. But doing so will pay huge dividends when you need to do it out in the field. This type of deliberate practice prepares you for the real moment. Number 6, emotional intention. This is where many photographers stop short in their deliberate practice. This is where you work on adding your heart to your images, connecting with your subjects, and bringing emotion to your photos. Ask yourself, what do I want this image to feel like? Do I want it to feel calm, tension, isolation, power, struggle? Let emotion be the one aspect you deliberately practice during one of your sessions. Focus your energy on finding subjects in which you feel some sort of emotion. We often worry so much about our images being technically perfect, and yet images with emotion, regardless of how good they are technically, grab the viewer's attention. If you don't feel something while you're practicing, your images will rarely make anyone else feel anything either. Number 7, constraint-based practice. Deliberate practice thrives on constraints. Place intentional limitations on yourself. Use one lens, one focal length, one subject, 1 hour, one compositional rule. When you give yourself constraints, you force awareness, and awareness fuels creativity. Number 8, feedback and review. Deliberate practice requires reflection. After each session, sit down and ask yourself, did I accomplish my intention? What worked well? What didn't work? What adjustments would I make for the next time? It all comes down to one of my favorite expressions. We cannot manage what we don't measure. One of the keys of feedback and the review period is to be honest with yourself. Now, this might seem obvious, but you have to be your toughest critic. If you truly want to improve, this is what it takes. Number 9, why people avoid deliberate practice. Well, it's pretty simple, really. Deliberate practice is uncomfortable. It exposes our weaknesses. It removes excuses. It feels slower at first. Passive practice feels more productive initially because it's familiar and you're practicing everything at once. Deliberate practice feels demanding until it works. And when it works, progress becomes obvious. Time behind the camera does not guarantee improvement. Capturing a mass of images does not guarantee improvement. Time spent intentionally practicing specific skills does. Deliberate practice is how you turn effort into progress. It's how you stop feeling stuck. It's how you build confidence rooted in real growth. If you want better photos, don't practice more. It's not about repetitions. Practice with a purpose. And remember, growth is not linear. It's not predictable or immediate. But with the right approach, it's inevitable. If this video helped you to rethink how you're going to practice, let me know in the comments what skill you're going to work on next for your growth. If you're looking for a new photo editing program this year, I would recommend that you go and check out DxO Photolab 9. This is the program that I use and that I trust for all of my photo editing. They have industry-leading noise reduction features, and with the release of Photolab 9, they now have AI masking tools that are going to help you streamline your editing process. And when you combine their AI masking tools with their previous generation masking tools, you now have amazing control over your photo editing. Use the link in the show notes below to head on over to DxO where you can check it all out for yourself. If you decide that you would like to purchase DxO Photolab 9, be sure to use my discount code at the time of checkout. That is Magnolia, and it will save you 15% off on your purchase. If you're not quite ready to make a purchase, download their 30-day free trial. You can try out the entire piece of software absolutely free for 30 days and 0 restrictions on the program. Great way to try out the full software. If you're worried about learning the program, don't worry. You can check out my DxO Photolab 9 Masterclass. Head on over to my store, magnoliaphotographysc.com/store. And my masterclass teaches you everything you need to know to create professional looking images. Hey, thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you learned something today. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, but before you leave, you might want to consider checking out this next video right here.